Good morning, brothers and sisters. How are you today? I hope well. Today is May the 30th of 2023. Do you realize we're almost halfway through? In a few days, it's 6 months into this year. I don't know much of anything I'm telling you, but I have a new family member. Um, Her name is Precious. She likes to growl at the cats, so the cats are kind of being skittish. But Oliver, he's one that gets his daddy's love. He came up on the bed, and I had told her early not to be growling, and she didn't, and I told her good dog. Now, if you want to see her, Precious, hey, come here. Let the people see. Oh, goodness grievers, you're rolling over on me, aren't you? Here is Precious. Oh, put your paw down. Be a lady. Put your paw down. She's got her hands up for you, people. Now, this is Precious. And she is precious, trust me. She is a precious little doodad. Okay, you can lay right there. Lay right there. Okay, lay down. Lay down. Now, I will tell you, since she got here yesterday, I kind of thought that she'd be back offish and want to stay hid for a while. But you know what? This dog got on my lap, and that is where she has stayed most of the time. Now, yesterday, I will say this. It was kind of funny. It was like my cats were having a Mexican standoff with her. I think Char Char may have, and none of the cats have been hissing at her. She's been growling at them, and she's seeing Oliver over. You better not growl. You be good. And Oliver's over there at the other chair. You'll see him on the table. See, he decided to lay down over. I hope you go. Oh wait a minute. Let's go a bit further. I don't know how in the world you can't see him over there. It's like this thing does not. It's not a very good round, and it's supposed to be right in the center, but I don't know. Anyway, my nose is itching. You saw me scratch it this time. Usually I move the camera when I got to do that. So anyway, Lord willing, I can't wait to get good coffee. I got the coffee that you make in a regular coffee maker, and um, and I do have a coffee maker, I think, underneath my sink, but it does not brew right. You can fill it full of water, and somehow it only makes not even, it may be like a coffee cup, but my cup's a little bit bigger, as you can see right there. Yeah, it's black. I don't have any cream, but my cousin should be bringing me some. I hope. But anyway, I want to let you. I was trying to think where I was at. Now I know where I'm at. I'm in my chair. Ain't that something with me? But anyway, like I was going to say, last night, yesterday evening, not last night, yesterday evening, she got down and went into the kitchen, and she was in there, and she's up by the sink. Okay, now y'all haven't seen the kitchen yet, but you will eventually when I'm ready to, hopefully show y'all everything. But anyway, what I was going to say was she was in the kitchen, and I don't know if it was one or both cats, I can't remember. I was hollering for her, and she wouldn't move. She was in there, and the cats had her on a standoff. They were on one side of the kitchen, she was on the other, and the kitchen is not that big at all. It may be 6 foot wide, and if that, or maybe 7 or 8 foot, but it's not a real big kitchen. It's just a small kitchen. Now of course, it's bigger than a kitchenette because it's a whole room itself. It's not in with my, living room and stuff. But anyway, it'd be kind of nice if it was, though. I've had my one apartment that I used to on my other videos. It did have a kitchenette, and I actually liked that. Or well, it wasn't really a kitchenette; it was a big kitchen, but it was it was all open. Um, it was all open concept. Living room, dining room, and kitchen were all open, and in a way I like it, in another way not so much. So anyway, kitty, kitty, dog, dog. She was in there, and they were letting her. They weren't even doing anything, just looking at her. She's standing there looking at them. I can't move. They both got me. I've been barking at them, and oh my, if she got a little bit of sense, she could have barked, and they would have ran because her bark scares them. They're not used to barking, but they are used to a dog. That they were used to Duke, which I think Duke. That was the dog that was here back in 2022, 2020, toward the end. And they were here in 2020, and then by 2021, February, the dog and the people that were here left. And but that dog was not well trained at all. This one here goes to pad, and I noticed this morning she did. She got up through the night, went over to her pad, and used the pad. Good girl, too. But anyway, now that's enough about animals. Although they are given by God to be a comfort to man. Some, not all. I mean, like, you don't have, well, I guess you could have a chicken as a pet, but they don't make good pets. Well, I guess they would if they got used to you and got attached to you. Because I think there is chickens that's done that, or roosters too. But anyway, people have different kinds of pet. Some people have a pet pig. I know a girl I work with had a potbelly pig. Cute little thing from what I've seen. And there was other things too. They had she had a potbelly pig. But most people have some do not have animals that they can hold really. They have birds. They're in a cage. They feed them, and that's just what they're there for, Now my mom, she had her cockatiel and she had her parakeet. And this is back right before she died. And we'd have to bring the cockatiel in there and put her on Mom's hand. Of course, she would take Mom's glasses off. And she'd kiss Mom. And then we had to take the parakeet in there. And she'd, be with Mom. And we'd go back and we'd get her and we'd bring her back to her cage. And I'm pretty sure I got candy out from Mom, but I can't remember, I think. Well, I know I got her out at times. Now, I didn't personally hold her because she was Mom's bird. You could tell that. She would not hurt Mom, but she tried to hurt me. I think Dad got her most of the time and took her into Mom. Because Mom said, I want to see my bird. And he'd go in there and she said, I want to see my birds. That's what she said. And Dad would go in there and get candy, or not candy, the cockatiel. He'd go in there and get the cockatiel, take her. Now, I bought the cockatiel and I got the parakeet thrown in, which my mom noticed that the person doing that was flirting with me, but it didn't work. It did not work for him. I don't know that he was. He could have just been nice, and where we were buying a cage and everything, he was going to get commission, so he threw in a free bird. And I mean, he was nice. So looking back, I don't know if he was or not, but Mom said he was, and I think my mom would know what she's talking about. So anyway, yeah, it was a man, and I wasn't paying any attention. I wasn't. When I was in the gay lifestyle, I never really, if I was out with my mom or out at the bar I was not never looking to hook up. I was just out to have fun with my friends and stuff. But well, we weren't real friends, but because the one I knowed from back then, I known her for over 40 some years. She doesn't talk to me anymore. No, she doesn't talk to me anymore. And that's okay. I mean, I know people, they got their lives to go. And when you're a child of God, you lose friends. And you lose family members too. They don't want to be around you because all you do is talk about God. Yeah, and I know a lot of you guys are, the ones that watch these videos. I did pray before that God would use this for His will. And we're going to see where it goes in the name of Jesus. Now, I've lost, my older brother's not really one, he's still, if I was to call him and talk to him, he would talk to me. That's not really someone that I've lost contact. Well, I don't contact him much because he and I never got along anyway. Does he love us? Yes, he loves us. But we just don't get along. He likes to torment me because I'm big. And I could torment him back because he's stupid. He acts stupid. He's got he's got some sense anyway. I wouldn't say it's common sense, but he's got some sense. Redneck sense, that's what he's got. And, but there's even rednecks that have common sense. Most rednecks do have common sense. Redneck sense is just a hobby. But his is a sense anyway. So anyway, like I was going to say, you lose a lot of family members and friends, and so-called friends. I met this one man and his wife and their little boy. Of course, they're no longer married. She's remarried to another one, and she's had, I think, 2 more kids or something since then, or 1 more. And her son, by the other guy, is already pretty much grown up. Well, she's on my Facebook. He's on my other Facebook. But anyway, he worked at a nursing home, not the one I was in. He'd already actually quit from the nursing home by then because he's not well. But one time I was driving his Jeep, and he was on the passenger side, and I was driving down through our holler where I lived at the time. Him and his wife would come up. We've had Bible studies, and she's the one that helped me move from one trailer to the other, which was awesome. Yeah. And I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit here. When I moved into another apartment, they came, I think, once, maybe twice to see me, and that was it. But I basically lost him as a friend when I just told him, how my life, my friendship things go. I told him, I said, I make a friend and then I end up losing them. It's like, I told him about my childhood friend and all that. And it wasn't but like maybe a couple of months later, after that, they never hardly came and seen me anymore. And it's hard to find a true Christian friend that will stick with you. And, we do need friends. Now, I have one now right there. Precious. She's laying down there. She is laying down there. She lays by Daddy, and I let her. But anyhow, there she is. She's a cutie. She's got that little Chihuahua look, but she's bigger than a Chihuahua. But I already love her, and she's already being better. Good girl. Good girl. When you start getting along with them, that's even better. They won't do a cat's Mexican standoff on you. Anyhow. So, when you become a Christian, when you become a follower of Christ, because a lot of people use the word Christian, and Christ is not even in them. And that's what Christian means, Christ in us. And I'm sorry, did that? Oh, goodness help me. But if you want to know what the noise is, that's my brother's TV. He's playing Walker, Texas Ranger. I like it. There's nothing nasty on there. No nasty words. It's back when TV had a family feel to it, that it was, safe for families to watch. Not that I would say Walker, Texas Ranger is a good idea for kids to watch, because they go to school and try that martial art, kicking people and everything, and not realizing that hurts people. Well, they should realize it, because it shows the people, although they're playing, but it shows them being, bruised. Well, actually, I don't think I've ever seen anyone that he's hit be any blood on him. So I don't know. Who knows? Maybe his foot stinks and it knocked him out. But I mean, I like Chuck Norris. I like Chuck Connor too. I thought they were both good actors. I mean, I liked watching I still can watch it. The Rifleman with Johnny Crawford. He played Marcus. He was one of them. Well, of course he was acting, but he was one of the most polite little kids on a Western, with his pa or anybody. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And if you remember who he is, he passed away in 2021. He had dementia or Alzheimer's. I can't remember, one or the other, but really both the same. Just I think one's more aggressive than the other one is. I don't know. But anyway, like I was going to say, there was a lot of good wholesome shows. Nowadays, I try to watch like videos of fire departments putting out house fires and unsolved mysteries or cold cases and stuff like that. And the honest truth is that, well, even some of the fireman videos, they have cussing. And if I hear it, or I hear someone screaming and stuff on there, cuss words and stuff, I end it. I go to another video. I don't want to hear that kind of stuff, There was, I don't know if it's someone I know or not, but someone used to cuss a lot. I mean, well, I know a lot of people that cuss a lot, but this person was talking to me. And, no, that was the one I talked about yesterday. It was saying, stuff in her video, which, I'm just being truthful. I don't care. I don't want to hear that kind of stuff. And if you're a Christian, you're not going to sit and use that stuff. You're going to find another way to show your disgust to other people without the S word for number 2 and the B word. I can't remember, but anyway, for a lady, she had a filthy mouth, and that's sad, because women should know that doesn't make them ladylike. It makes them less intelligent. Those kind of words do not make you look big or make you look smart. They make you look rather stupid, that you can't think of another way to express your anger or to express your opinion. Now, and there was one on there, she said to her, why don't you go sweep your porch? She said, and stop writing that ass in here. I'm sorry, but that's wrong. That's not how you talk to another sister in Christ. She probably was telling her not to stop the cussing. And you know, I did too, but it probably wouldn't do no good. And I'm not friends with her, so I don't care. But I mean, you know, I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But you know, she needed to be called out for her filthy mouth because it didn't make her look any smarter. She didn't look dumb, but she didn't look smart when she did that either. I used to do that too. I look back at when I was doing it. Why couldn't I have found another way to express my anger? You know, to vent my anger out instead of, you know, the words I would use. You're around people and they make you use words that you don't any other time, then don't go around them people. You don't want to be around someone that gets you upset or gets you mad, or you just can't stand being around them. And sometimes you don't want to be around them because God's pulling you away from them people. When he's doing that, don't go back around him. God takes someone out of your life, there's a reason why he did. You may not notice that when you're around that person that you act a certain way that you don't when you're not. And I'm not saying that person isn't a Christian. You know, it could just be someone that's around you that makes you cringe when you see them, and they can actually notice that you don't like them or that you don't like how they act and stuff. And it's better if you're not around that person. But you know what? If you don't like someone who is a Christian, ask God to remove that, you know, because we're supposed to love one another. I love everybody. I might not be able to stand to be around a lot of people, but I do love everybody. You know, I'm involved in this one page. I think it says getting ready for the rapture or something like that. It used to be something else, but the person they named it after said he didn't feel right. Well, you know, that name is not just his name. Everybody else has that name, you know. So why did you rename your show, you know, your room because of that? I mean, it was a nice room. It was one time or two, but you know, it's just the way it is. But it's got a lot of, you know, brothers and sisters in it, and I enjoy going in there and looking at certain things. But you know, and I also met another video lady in there to watch. I've watched one of hers so far. Not everybody agrees upon everything, but you need to agree upon some things. That's the truth. Like, I'm sorry, I had my finger in my ear. No, Linda was not falling asleep. But anyway, anyhow, there is so much stuff going on right now. Right before I got up, I was laying there resting, and I saw like this red brick building. It was a tall one, and it had different names or words as it was coming down. And I looked all the way down through it, and in the middle part, I mean, it wasn't high, but it was high. In the middle part was the actress from Laverne and Shirley, Cindy Williams, which she passed away this year. But in this one, she was Shirley Feeney. Although her name wasn't Shirley, her name was something else. I can't remember. Her middle name was Cheryl. But anyway, coming down, it stopped on her, and she was sitting there, and the whole wall, the brick wall, was gone right there where she was sitting at. And she was sitting at a typewriter or something. And she turned around and said something. But I'm not really sure what it was about, if it meant anything at all. It may have just been, you know, something that popped into my head that you do sometimes, or it happens like that. But when you think about your walk with Christ, with Jesus, we need to stay strong. We need to stay in the Word. And what I usually do is I watch these videos that have readings of scriptures in them, or preachers that's preaching. But I also, I don't read the Bible like I should. And I'm a type of person that likes to do Bible studies. And there was a person that came by this past weekend. She was doing Vacation Bible School. Yeah, Vacation Bible School. It's that time of year again, folks. Does it mean, is Vacation Bible School good for all kids? Really, it depends on the church. I mean, the church really needs to be preaching about Jesus' soon return. They say that scares kids. It ought not if you're teaching about how much Jesus loves them and how much heaven is way better than this earth we're on. That's really what we should be doing. But not, like Watchman River Channel, or Watchman River, Watchman River Channel. Tom, he said, he said that, he's trying to win souls into the kingdom, or he said to Jesus, but I say into Jesus, into the kingdom, because the kingdom is Jesus's. And you try to just tell the truth in everything that you do. Like I'm not ashamed. I don't hyphenate or say words different just to please people. Like for transsexual, there was this one guy, his name was Brawlin, and he would say twain instead of tran. It was twan, or twan. And instead of what was it? Even like the LGBTQ, he'd say something different with that. And for same-sex couples, he had another word that he used to not step on people's feet. Or maybe he just did it because that's what he felt like doing. But you know what? I'm not going to sit here and make up a name for someone who's in sin that needs to be brought down. I mean, I enjoyed his videos, but it was that kind of stuff that just turned me off. I couldn't handle it. Because I lived that life, and, people need to hear their sin, and see what they're doing wrong. So if no one says anything straight out to them, they're never going to know. A lot of them don't care. That's a proven fact. A lot of them don't care. And it doesn't matter. And a lot of them are not going to listen. It doesn't matter, because if they hang around a bunch of people, it doesn't matter what they're doing. It doesn't have to be the, homosexual or transsexual or drag clowning or nothing. But it could be just hanging around the wrong crowd. Drinking, carousing, doing drugs, and getting high and fighting and arguing and hitting and scratching. That hurts. The hit and scratch. Don't do it. But anyway, I know none of y'all guys do. And if you do, stop. There's just too much evil. And it's not going to lower down. We shouldn't want it to lower down, because we should, the more worse it gets, the sooner we go home to be with Jesus. And that's the blessed hope, is to be with Jesus. And I want to go be with Jesus. I mean, I thank him for everything I have. Even this little puppy right here, I thank him for her. I'm getting used to calling her, because yesterday I kept saying, "Come on, boy." And I even got a pink collar, if you noticed it on her. This right here. I put that on her yesterday. It's got little diamond, almost like little diamond sets on it. But I told her don't try to go to the pawn shop, because they ain't worth nothing. They won't get her nowhere. Not that she's going to go to a pawn shop anyway. Do you know there's people that would steal that off her neck because they actually would think that it's actual real diamonds, but it's not. It's just cheap. I think well, it's cheap plastic looking like diamond sets or whatever, but they ain't real. There was one I was going to get, the original Jasmine I was going to get. I was going to get her this one color. It was nothing but those. But you think about that, I'm glad I got this one because that other one I think would pull apart. I think it was more for looks than anything else. But anyway, we can't, pretty up or use code words for people's sin. A sin's a sin, and it needs to be called what it is. Now, the word gay, but if you watch real old, like westerns or older movies, I was watching one. It's been a while back. I don't know how long, but I remember them coming out of I think they came out of their house, and they were in an old western town, and they stepped out and they said, "Oh boy, I feel gay today." Well, that wasn't meaning they were going to put on a dress and tap dance down through town. That means they were happy, because that's what that word meant. Of course, you ask anybody that supports them, the homosexual, which is what the word should be called. They should have never stole words that didn't, like gay was happy. Gay was bright colors. But they stole it and used it, just like they stole the rainbow. And also they stole, people called him a fag, and a fag is a cigarette. I don't want to say that in either way because I'm not hurting someone's feelings deliberately, and I don't want no cigarettes. But that was a British word for cigarettes because I used to watch this show, Keeping Up Appearances. And there was this character on there named Onslow. He was married to Daisy, who was Hyacinth's sister. It was called Keeping Up Appearances. And they had, Daisy and Onslow had this sister of Daisy and Hyacinth and Violet, which was the others. They all were named flowers. The one was named Rose. And she comes in and she goes, give me a fag. Like that, and it was like, what? People be watching, they wouldn't understand. But in the British language, fag meant cigarette. It really did. And he's up here. He came up. Just lay down right there, bro. Go ahead and get up there. You want to take me back when you get back there, but that's okay. All right. So anyway, he had to come up. He's my baby too, and so is Char Char. They know they're my babies. They know they are my babies. But anyway, like I was saying, we're going back down now because he got down. Probably will get all the way down. Yep, he is. So anyway, with what's going on in this world today, we have to just be, we have to be truthful. We really need to be truthful, because if someone asks you a question, don't tiptoe around it. If they say, tell me the truth, and they want to know if they're wrong for what they believe or something, or if it's someone that's dressed in something and they're asking you, does it make them look fat or, you know, anything like that, and you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. You really don't. But I got news for you. When a fat woman puts on a yellow leather and it's skin tight, I'm sorry, I'm going to say, do you like what you're wearing? And if they say yeah, I'll say, well, then that's the only thing that matters. Other people might not like what you're wearing, but it's okay as long as you like it. But please don't bend over or you're going to split the banana. That's all I can say. You know, I mean, you know, if someone comes out and you're fat, you know, you're fat, and you come out and say, does this make me look fatter? You could say something like, well, it doesn't help any, but, you know, no fatter than normal. But that'll hurt somebody's feelings. So, especially, you know, just look at people and say, don't ask me my opinion because I really don't want to give it. And they may get the hint that you're trying to be nice and not ask you. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, we have to tell people the truth. We have to let them know that Jesus loves them. You know, when you really think about it and you picture it, when Jesus came and died for our sins, think about it. That was God in the flesh walking the earth. He came down with his own creation to become a payment for his creation that turned, you know, that was deceived by the enemy who God throwed out for trying to take over heaven. And that was, you know, Satan and his dominions, fallen angels. Lord, I plead the blood of Jesus. You know, it was kicked out, and he tempted Jesus. He tempted Eve, and she ate of the fruit. And Adam, when she said, you should try this, and I think he said something like, woman, is that not the fruit that the Lord told us not to eat of? A lot of people says he probably did it so that would, you know, God would leave Eve there. But you got to think about this. Do you think God didn't know that they were going to do that? Jesus was with him in the beginning, because it says in the beginning was God. In the beginning was God. The Word. Yeah, in the beginning the Word was God and was with God. You know, and let us create. Jesus and God created by speaking things into existence. And Jesus left his paradise. Now think about this. Up in heaven, things are totally peaceful. It's paradise. There's nothing in this world that can compare to it. But put it like this. Jesus was up there and he came down in human form, was born of a virgin, Mary, who married Joseph, but she did not have intercourse with him until she had Jesus. Then they had sons and daughters. I'm not sure how many, but they did have sons and daughters. And the book of James, that's written by, Jesus's brother James. And well, from what I've heard, and I believe, people know what they're talking about. Well, some people don't, but I believe whoever said that, I believe that is James, because he really talks and tells what it means to be a Christian. And I love the book of James. I love the book of Revelation. I love the book of 1st and 2nd Timothy. I love the book of Matthew and Mark, Luke, and John. It is the account, but basically the same thing, but each of them puts it in their own words, which makes it different from each other. Because no two people that are writing something are going to write the exact same thing. And it is good, to be in there reading it. And I pray for me that God will send somebody I asked the woman from that Second Baptist, I'd like to have somebody to come and Bible study with me. And she said, we have a Bible study on Thursday nights. She said, oh, but you want someone to come to your house. I said, yes. I said, yeah, that would be appreciated. And she said, some man's name. And she said, I will talk to him and he'll probably get back with you. I was like, that sounds fine to me. Now, I did have a 7-day Adventist, I think it was, that came to the door and was going to want to study with me. I said, I said, no, sir, E.D. Bob, no, I don't. Because you're not supposed to let people, and then I think now, why didn't I? Because if I studied with him and the Holy Spirit gave me utterance, meaning words to tell him, that would bring him, oh Lord, I'm so sorry. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. And a lot of them people that's in like Jehovah's Witnesses and 7-day Adventists and all that stuff, they actually are pretty much kind of in baked like a brownie. They've been baked into it. Their belief is that everything is. Sorry, I had to put my towel behind me here. Oh my goodness. But anyway, oh my goodness, I got to get my drinking me coffee here somehow. What did I do? I did it wrong again, people. Hold on a minute. I got to get me a drink, and I knew I messed up when I turned 14. No, not real. Ow! I messed up when I turned any age when I wasn't with Jesus. That tastes good. Real good. Now, I hurt. I love you, baby girl. I love you, sugars. I love Daddy loves you. Yes, I do. You can lay down. Lay down. Something in there made a noise and she don't know it. Sometimes they're so stupid. But anyway, there was something on my mom's cousin's daughter, which is my third cousin. We're not real close, but we were as we were kids, but I hardly remember. It's kind of it's like hazy and foggy. Of course, that's been over 50 years ago, so or over 40 at least. She used to come in, we would play outside, but I remember I was really closer to my other cousins, like my cousin Vicky. When she came, I was always happy to see her because she's one of my favorite cousins. I've never told her that now. She did tell me I was one of her favorites. I was her favorite cousin on her dad's side. And when I was growing up, she was one of my favorite cousins. And my other favorite cousin was my cousin Loretta. We were close. We were closer because she came more to see it and talk. She used to call me every single night from the payphone where she lived. If they didn't have a phone in the house, she called me from the payphone. She called me every night to talk to me until she got married. She got married. That kind of like it kind of like faded out before then, but now we don't hardly talk at all, and it's okay because she's got her kids and grandkids from her daughter. Her daughter has actually given her a football team. Well, at least we could say gave her the quarterback and I don't know, third baseman, whatever for baseball, because they may go in different sports if the Lord tarries, but I don't think He's going to. All those kids, regardless of how they were born, if they were born, in a fornication way where they were not married and they defiled the wedding bed, And a lot of parents don't care whether their kids are married to the man their daughters with the man they're living with, or their sons, or if they're married to the woman they live with. But you know what? I pray that these people that's shacking up feel convicted and get married and make it right in God's eyes. Some people think, oh, he don't mind you living with somebody. Yeah, he does, because that's fornication. That's, you know, it's a sexual sin, and that's not a good one. Homosexuality and all that stuff is an abomination to God. What you do to your body sexually, if it does not honor God's will for you in life, then you're doing wrong, and God does not approve of it. When I was in that lifestyle doing what I did, and I'm ashamed to say that I did have, homosexual, relationships, but I look back, that's my past. God has forgiven me. I would never do it again. Looking back, I don't know how I even did it in the first place, because it's disgusting. Okay, it is. Not just that, but the whole lifestyle is misleading, backstabbing, two-faced people. And it'll be that way because, that relationship is ran by the enemy. It is. It's run by the enemy. I don't know how that red spot got there, but I'm going to cover it up with my dirty nail. I think it's where I rubbed. Yeah, I did. I scratched it because I just scratched it and itched a little bit. But anyway, that's not a spot of makeup. I wasn't trying to make myself look beautiful or anything. But anyway, like I was saying, we have to just be truthful, be honest, and be godly. Ask Jesus to give you, peace about things, and to remove things that aren't right that comes into your head. Now, like I was saying, when Jesus came to earth, he lived just like any other, as far as like sleeping in a house when he was a kid, and how he was in what we would call the hood or the gutter. Now, the gutter's when you're drinking. He was in a poor class, because you were either, royalty, which he was true royalty. The ones that were royalty out there were only man appointed, or I don't know how they did it for kings. I think it's 10 down from one to another. Doesn't matter. The same thing happens in presidential races too. They do. Oh my goodness. They don't Miranda. That's why I said they Miranda. But they know who they want in there. No matter who you vote for, the one they have set to go in will go in. You may ask, well, what's the deal with this one that's in there? They needed a puppet on a string. And with him not being in the building, in his head. And a lot of people believe that he's a clone, that the real Joe Biden is in a hospital somewhere, or in a personal care home or underground being taken care of. See, I think his wife is a doctor. Could that be a clone of her that's walking around with the clone? Yeah, it could be. These people, they're already, I don't know if he started it yet or not, but they're going to start making babies in a lab. Yeah, they're already cloning, goats, or no, pigs or sheeps. They're already cloning animals. She can't hardly hold her eyes open as she looked up at me. And she closed her eyes and had her head like this. Bobbing. She's a doll baby. She slept with me the whole night last night. She got up and went to her pad, which is awesome. And she's not really barking at the cats because I get on her every time she does it. So she's kind of stopping. But anyway, you know, hold on a second. Hey, Google, turn off the master bedroom speaker.
Sorry, power control is not supported yet.
Hey, Google, turn off or stop the master bedroom speaker.
Sorry, power control is not supported yet.
Hey, Google, stop the master bedroom speaker.
Got it. Stopping master bedroom speaker.
Took her a while to get it, didn't it? You say turn it off. Power's not connected. You got a power cord going into the wall. There's some kind of power going to you. You psychotic. Narrate. I'm sillier than a box of locks. No, just joking. But anyway. I'm acting silly, aren't I? Sometimes it pays to discover. Discover a charge card. Don't get one. They'll get you in trouble every time. I got one. I should have never done it because I'm not one that can keep things paid. I can't say anybody else who buys, impulse buys. I don't do it to the point where my house is overflowing with stuff, but I do it. And right now I've got one room full of stuff that I bought, but it was helping my aunt because she has a little web store and I help her. But, I help find free stuff, stuff where she can go pick up the sale. It's her and her husband's only income. And God bless them. They just get stuff that's old, and I love old stuff, and I buy it from her. Of course, being her nephew, you'd think I'd get a little bit cheap, but no, she gives me some stuff for free because I am her nephew. But no, I paid the same price as anybody else would when I pay for stuff. There's not, any family discounts. No, not at the Burgess and Barnett store. No, we not even for a Burdette like me. Oh, sorry. It's kind of weird with her. She was married to a Beagle, and that was a B. I don't know what that old man's name was. His family didn't like my aunt, and she's the most sweetest woman you ever know. Then she met the love of her life, and that's the one she's with now, and that's Uncle Bill. He is a sweet country man. I love him. I love her. You always got to keep your family in prayer. Brothers and sisters, if one of your family members is lost, don't just be, talking down about them. Lift them up. Don't lay them down. Lift them up to God. Now, my aunt and uncle are saved. My cousin Vicky is, and her husband and kids, and her dad, Uncle Roger, and Aunt Joyce. I believe they're all saved because, not because they attend church, but because they know that Jesus is the way, the truth, the life. No man comes to the Father but through Him. And I feel like, I've got I think one aunt I'm not sure about, but my Aunt Brenda, which is my mom's She's not the oldest. Aunt Edna's the oldest. And then it was, well, then it was Uncle Natchy. Then it was Aunt Janie, I'm pretty sure. And then Mom. And then probably Gordon. My Uncle Gordon. He lives out in Dayton, Ohio. And then my Aunt Brenda. Then my Uncle Louie. And then my Aunt Connie. And then my Aunt Libby. I think that's all of them. There were 10 kids in Grandma's family. So she breed will in captivity, or in the free world, I guess, at that time. I never got to know her. She passed away when I was 10. But I know that she was a beautiful woman and that she loved us. But anyway, I'm going to end this video. I went further than probably one of the longest ones I've done yet, but I hope that y'all like these longer videos. And if you don't, you can fast forward to what you want to hear. But I just open up to you guys about things that I can't say to anybody else, about me, and things that I don't want to talk to other people about that I'm going through and thinking about and stuff. But you know how it all is. But anyway, I love you all. And Precious loves you too. She don't know it yet, but she does. She loves you. And of course, Char and Oliver. But most of all, Jesus loves you. And me and Jason love you too. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. God bless you. And Lord willing, see you next video. Or even better, in the clouds with Jesus. Bye.